If you've been told or you've heard from somebody else that in the winter you need to cover up your koi pond, well, if you have, you've been lied to. Some of you may take offence to what we're going to say, but unfortunately it has to be said. Welcome to the channel. If you're new to the channel, we've been around for about a year now, so we're fairly new and we seem to become rather popular over this last year. 1, because we don't bullshit people. 2, we don't just make up a whole load of rubbish to scaremonger you so you can dig deep, get out your card and spend money where it's not needed. And 3, so many people have been put off having a koi pond altogether. There are so many koi specialists on YouTube and on forums online where they make a massive song and dance on how difficult koi keeping really is. I'm sorry, you don't have to be a koi specialist to keep a fish that's more than happy to live in a mud pond in pretty much any country across the world that experiences all types of water qualities with huge temperature fluctuations. So this is why koi carp is so popular. It's not because of their pretty little colours, it's because they are the hardiest fish on the planet and one of the easiest fish to keep. So if and only if you struggle to keep koi carp, or if you know somebody that's managed to kill one, it's because of human error. So for this reason, and this is the main reason only, we go on YouTube and we make these videos. Because some people, not everybody, just some people will not take responsibility because they don't know how to look after these fish, and then instead they blame it on the fish themselves and they'll never take human error as their responsibility. Unfortunately for koi, they can't make videos, but we can. For years and years, the koi keeping industry has been rinsing the British public dry, but basically making you spend a shit ton of money on products that you don't actually need, but by making you believe that your fish actually need them to live. They know that you want the best for your fish. They're your pets at the end of the day. They know that you love them. It's an easy sale. So how do I know this? Over the years I've worked in most of these places, and trust me, things haven't changed. So let's face it, the cost of living is no joke right now. Speaking of jokes, this one gets me every year, covering your koi pond in the winter to protect your fish from the cold. So before I get into it, if you appreciate our honesty and our integrity, show us your appreciation, click on the like button, consider subscribing if you haven't already. So this isn't the first one of our videos where it highlights some of the ridiculous things you've been told and what you need to look after your koi pond. We've already made a few videos. One of those is koi don't need deep ponds in order to survive, and the other one is that koi carp do not need a heated pond through the winter. If you want to watch those videos, I'll leave a link in the description below. As I've mentioned before, koi carp live in countries all over the world. They don't just live in them, they thrive. And the countries that they thrive in, well, these countries have hot summers and bitterly cold winters. So try and take this in. These fish have over the years, and we're talking thousands and thousands of years, have evolved and they've learned how to live in these countries that experience such harsh conditions. So these conditions would be low oxygen levels during the warmer months and also extremely cold water in the winter months, where some fish just would not be able to survive at all. So if your fish have managed to survive for thousands and thousands of years outdoors in really harsh conditions, why all of a sudden are they not going to survive in your garden pond? So it's the biggest load of rubbish you're ever going to hear. They should be fine in your pond. If they're not, there's probably something else you're doing wrong, and it's nothing to do with the temperature. All fish, koi carp, marine fish, anything like that, all they need are the correct water quality parameters and they will absolutely thrive. So we do receive a lot of comments on our videos, which is natural. We're a YouTube channel, you're going to get comments. Some of them are going to be good, some of them are going to be bad. But some of the comments are quite amusing to us because some of the things people actually believe is just incredible. So firstly, we welcome all comments, but don't be abusive. If you are, YouTube just removes them automatically and we don't even get to see them. So if you want to write something constructive and be polite. So I'm pretty sure majority of the negative comments we're going to get from this video are people that may have already got a cover on their pond and they've already invested in that and aren't too happy with what we're saying. So I get it. It may be a tough pill to swallow. Nobody wants to tell you you've been doing something wrong. We're not telling you you're doing it wrong. We're just basically saying that koi carp do not need it. But if you've been doing it and it works for you, just crack on and keep going. So this video is pretty much aimed at the new koi pond keeper. He's not too sure if he wants to take the plunge and spend all the money on a koi pond and also all the hassle that comes with it. Because let's face it, what a pain in the arse it is to actually cover a large koi pond. They're not particularly light. I bet most of you have to get your other half to help you to move those in the winter. The next thing, obviously you spend a fortune on a koi pond. They're not cheap. You spend a lot of money on your fish and then you want to go and cover them up. It makes no sense whatsoever. And also you can't see them, and should you have any problems, how are you going to know? Every time we post a video like this, we always get negative comments, and there's always an excuse for everything that we say. So to save you a job, I'll put some of those excuses together for you now. So koi carp have been specially bred in Japan, where they have no immune system and they cannot live outside. Firstly, speaking of cold winters, Japan has some of the coldest winters around, where it can average -7 degrees throughout the winter. So if you didn't know this already, majority of koi carp in Japan actually live naturally in rivers, lakes and streams across the whole country. And also, not just in the rivers and streams, you will also find them in a lot of the rice paddies across the country. Excuse number 2, in Japan, the koi farms bring all their koi in during the winter. So part of that's right, yes, Japan, some of the koi farms do bring their koi carp in the winter, but only some of them do, because not all of them can actually afford to heat their pond during the winter months. And a lot of them will just bring in their prize fish and they'll leave the rest of them outside. As you can imagine, heating water isn't cheap in any country, and for a small koi farm in Japan, it's an absolute no-go. There's no way they'll be able to afford to heat all that water for all their fish. So excuse number 3, koi carp are not carp. They are a special breed and they need their own special care. This is probably one of the most common ones we get, and this one does make me chuckle every time. So there's a big debate. People say koi carp are from common carp, koi carp are from Amur carp, which are basically an Asian carp variety. So let's just end the debate there. It actually makes no difference whether they come from common carp in Europe or Amur carp in Asia. They both live, now think about this, they both live and have always lived in countries that have massive different temperature fluctuations. It is simply in this fish's DNA. It makes absolutely no difference. Excuse number 4, koi carp have been bred and bred and bred, which has made them weak over the years. So if you didn't know this already, koi carp are bred the exact same way as common carp. If you go fishing in any lake, river or stream in the UK that has no natural fish and has been stocked from a fish farm, those carp have been bred the same. And in fact, they've probably been bred more and more and more than your beloved koi carp have over the years. So it makes no difference on the fish's lifespan or the fish's natural defense. Excuse number 5, koi carp can only live in man-made ponds because they're a man-made fish. Wow, do I really need to go into this? Fortunately for koi carp in some countries, they've illegally made their way into the river systems and they've actually taken over and become pests. So if you're out fishing and you happen to catch and land one of these fish, you are not allowed to put it back. It is actually illegal to return that fish into the wild. You have to take it out and put it out of its misery. So if you honestly believe a koi carp would be happier in your garden pond at home than they would be in the wild, well, there's just no hope. Trust me, koi carp would much prefer to be in a natural environment where they can do what they do best. That's eat, breed and take over. I think one of the biggest problems out there, most koi keepers think it's okay to keep koi carp in a sterile koi cage. And if something was to go wrong during the winter, it's always the fish's fault. So it's because of awful fish keeping like this, you actually prevent your fish from having any natural immunity to any element. So if you ever have a problem with your fish during the winter, it's not because of the water temperature. There's something else that's happened in that pond, and more than likely human error. I will also be making a video on the dreaded koi cage laid bare shortly, so stay tuned for that. So apart from protecting your fish from predators, koi covers are a complete waste of time and your money. If you've enjoyed the video, click on the like button. If you haven't subscribed already, consider it. Thanks for watching.